Welcome to newspaper analysis session of June 25. Topics that we are going to cover today. So we'll try to understand one of the issues of safe drinking water. So there is an editorial that is talking about what are the concerns that we are facing regarding the drinking water. So drinking water is the most basic thing. We have discussed about some of the fundamental aspects which are essential for the human existence. There, apart from the housing, shelter, food, water is also very fundamental thing. Okay, but India is facing various concerns in the water area. So there is an article talking about this thing. So we will discuss about it. An important article on the disinvestment. So there is an article that is talking about how the policy of disinvestment is changing. Okay, so we will try to understand what is the disinvestment. I'll try to provide you the background of the disinvestment. So very important thing. So you may expect the question on this as well, disinvestment. And it's been 50 years since the emergency was imposed, the infamous emergency that was imposed in the 1975-77 time period. Okay, so it is in the news for the 50 years. So everywhere there are articles. They are talking about what kind of impacts that has been happened because of the emergency, the Shah Commission report. So we'll try to understand basically some important concepts related to the emergency. And so there is possibility, since it is 50 years, again this year means they can ask questions on the emergency. So when can the emergency be imposed? What could be the impacts of the emergency, and what kind of safeguards has been introduced after the emergency that was declared? So this can be the most probable GS1 question in the post independence that can be asked for this year mains as well. So students who are appearing for the mains this year, they have to be prepared on this topic. So there is a mention of ceasefire between Israel and Iran. We have already discussed about this. We will also try to see little bit more, a few more things about it. And there is one of the important scheme by the Ministry of the Tribal Affairs for the welfare of the tribal sections. So we'll try to see that scheme as well. We'll see that scheme from the prelims perspective as well as from the mains perspective. We'll try to utilize those things in the mains as well. And India breaks into top 100 of the global SDG rankings. So this is also the highly potential area for this year mains. So India's ranking has been improved. So consistently we are trying to improve our ranking. Improvement in the SDI, poverty, SDG goals is really a good thing. We are always scoring better in terms of the growth rate, but that itself is not sufficient, because bringing the qualitative change is important, not in terms of the quantity. Quantity means if one person is doing well, overall average might rise. Quality, inclusive development can happen with a lot of efforts. So when we see these kind of indices, they are showing us how much we are progressing in the qualitative aspect, not just the quantity. So this article, this analysis is also important for us. Again, the question can be asked in the mains, and how the question can be asked, that also we'll discuss. So the main thing, Israel-Iran ceasefire in effect, says Trump. I do not know. I did not understand like what were the objectives that were actually achieved because of the attacks between the Israel and the Iran. I did not understand. So Trump says, okay, they have significantly damaged the nuclear facilities of the Iran, but recent reports of the USA intelligence itself says they have shown the satellite images where the vehicles are moving from the Iran's nuclear facility carrying the uranium. So it's not that difficult to predict that USA is going to attack. So since we all predicted, why can't Iran predict? So like we have discussed, they have already relocated their uranium fuel or whatever the raw material that is there in their nuclear facilities to other locations. And also we are not sure how much amount of destruction has been happened in that area of the Fordo or other nuclear facilities. We are not sure how much amount of damage has been created by the USA. Are the facilities completely destroyed? We do not know. We are not sure. So at this stage, truce has been announced both by the Israel and the Iran, but with the significant amount of damages taken by the Iran. So we do not know what will happen. For now, Iran says, okay, truce. But very highly possible, like we have discussed yesterday also, Iran will continue its nuclear program, because that's the only way for the smaller countries to defend itself. Because there is a significant power difference between the one country and other country because of advancement in the technologies. Now, if a country has nuclear technology with them, they can threaten. If you hurt us, okay, we will bomb you with the nuclear missiles. Okay, so that's why every country is willing to go for nuclear enrichment. Comedy is in this thing is Iran is a signatory of the NPT. Israel is not the signatory of the NPT. Israel is currently holding the nuclear missiles, and they have a good amount of enriched uranium with them. Iran has also joined in the negotiations with the USA. Previously, we have discussed this thing. Like they have involved in P5+1. P5+1 is Germany. Okay, those P5 countries plus 1 with the Germany. Iran has entered into the negotiations to control their uranium enrichment. However, USA has backed off from the thing, and currently so far we have not seen significant level of uranium enrichment by Iran. But IAEA reports has mentioned that they have enriched the uranium to the 60%. These were the reports. But Israel already holds nuclear weapon. So Iran, being a signatory of the NPT, still got attacked. So this is not going to bring a kind of dialogue, bring a kind of stability in the Middle East. So this is not going to set things well. So definitely there will be a scenario where again Iran will restart its program. Okay, so this topic got the clarity. It has started, it has ended as well. For now there is a pause. It has ended. So once this truce was announced, again rupee got strengthened. So oil prices again has come back to the normal. So if you have seen the stock markets, they are again growing, they are again rising. Okay, so from the last 1.5 year, okay, there is huge instability in the stock market. If you have invested in the last 1.5 year, everything, your investments might have gone down. Okay, so now they are again slowly picking up. Now rupee got strengthened. Anytime, any kind of instability, your rupee will be weakened. We have discussed this thing previously also. Okay, today the stock markets are performing well. Okay, so this is the topic. So as this thing in the news, the question will be asked on a broader questions can be asked. If any kind of crisis happens in the Middle East, what are the options that India have? What kind of crisis India can face? You guys tell me. So it's not just about the Iran and Israel. Let's assume that it is a conflict of the Iran and the Israel. Tell me what kind of impacts such a kind of Middle East crisis plays on India. We have already discussed this thing. Tell me few points. What all you can generate? Impacts of Middle East crisis, be it a Israel or Palestine war or Israel or Iran war, any crisis in the Middle East. Impacts on the India. First point, tell me. No, from that, before that, the major crucial point which you can recall, oil. Okay, so India imports nearly, so now see, we can't just write oil imports will be significantly affected. To make it much more precise and concise, to make it more specific, we have to substantiate. From the Strait of Hormuz, India imports nearly 40 to 60% of its crude oil. Now I am substantiating. India's oil imports will be affected. Okay, fine. Evaluator feel, okay, this guy no little thing. Now I have mentioned from the Strait of Hormuz. I will also draw the diagram. And I will show this area. Okay, so this area I'll mention. Okay, so where there is a Strait of Hormuz, this Red Sea and all. You need to show that map. Okay, where India is getting affected in the Indian Ocean. Just small rough map is enough. Okay, you need not take more than 5 to 10 seconds. This was only short form. I'll draw in the same way. This is how I draw in the optional. Okay, just a kind of some kind of understanding they should get. This is West Asia. Okay, if you feel that they will not be able to identify, you write it. Okay, West Asia or Saudi Arabia, you mention it. Okay, if you feel okay, they will. So here you can write it is the Strait of Hormuz. That's it. So in the IR questions, in the security related questions, diagrams are very important. Short diagrams, small diagrams at the end of the page. Then second point, you can tell me. Yeah, very good. Diplomatic dilemma. So how do we manage the West as well as Iran? So we may face this dilemma. Tell me more points. Tell me more. Think what all things has happened in this last 10 days. What are the initial, or what is the operations in? So that means who are getting affected? Indian citizen residing in the Middle East area is getting affected. So it's a kind of threat to our diaspora. Significant threat to our diaspora. so many people are living, our Indian diaspora are living in the Middle East. Now, would they send money back to the India? What is that money called? Remittances. Your remittances will be affected. So this will also affect the significant impact on the remittances. India is one of the largest recipient of the remittances. What else you can think of? Very good. So our challenges to our infrastructure projects. Now there are various projects that we are doing. So here I will write this way. I'm not discussing anything which you do not know. So far we have discussed all these things. So one thing we have discussed, IMEC corridor, India Middle East Economic Corridor. See, I am showing my content here to the evaluator. Under this, I am using the subheading. Learn the art of answer writing. IMEC corridor. Then I will mention. Okay, someone has said Chabahar Port. Another significant project this year they have asked. What is through INSTC corridor? Okay. Anything more? These are the crucial points. Anything more you can think of? So you can also think indirect effects are there. So our rupee may weaken. Okay. So investments might struggle. Inflation might come in the domestic area. So these are the further more implications. Domestic effects. Think we have significant number of Muslim population. India holds significant number of Muslim population. So any kind of instability there can hurt us. Religious sentiments can get affected. So it is very difficult to handle. Okay. So then you can talk of rupee depreciation. Inflation, investments hurts, unemployment, these things comes at the ending because we can link to anything to everything. Okay. So these are not that significant point. If I am writing this point in the first, then evaluator will understand this guy knows nothing, he is just showing bullshit. Okay, he will not get the marks. Okay, so these are the points I will write in the starting. So have you understood? This is the approach. So India should maintain the neutral stand. India should use its credibility to bring a kind of to bring the two opposite forces onto the negotiation table. Okay, so this is how we will approach the answer. Are you learning? Clear? So I have not brought any point which you guys do not know so far, which we have discussed. Only those things I have introduced. We have discussed. Okay. Now see another issue. So this is what they are saying. The same article. Okay, nothing much. They are talking about the same thing. Nothing new in this thing. Okay. Then comprehensive aviation safety audits by the DGCA. See, they have conducted the investigation, Director General of the Civil Aviation, on various aircrafts. They found severe safety compromises that are happening. So they have found technical and maintenance issues, ground and training infrastructure issues, operational safety issues. See, several life vests were unsecured and corrosion resistance tape on winglets were damaged. Vehicles operating in the operated areas lack proper speed controls. So they can go and hit your aircrafts. So anything can happen. In everything in India will be operating till something accidents does not happen. Okay. Ground and training infrastructure, unserviceable ground handling equipment and outdated simulators that did not match aircraft configurations. Now, faded runway markings, non-functioning taxiway lights were reported. All these things will not be asked in the prelims. I will use this thing in the mains. Various issues concerning our India's civil aviation industry. So we have already discussed a lot about the India civil aviation sector. We have discussed what is our number in the civil aviation market. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. We are the third largest market. We are growing. We have discussed this thing. You guys tell me again. So, India, the question may be asked, India is a third largest civil aviation market. Question may be asked, India is third largest civil aviation market, or I can say India has civil aviation market. Yet civil aviation industry is facing numerous challenges. Discuss. This way they will ask you the questions. So what will I write in the introduction? You guys tell me. What will I write in the introduction? Anything from the current affairs you can mention? So introduction, so I am setting the base. What has happened? We have discussed so many things related to the aircrafts. That has been already given in the question. I can't repeat the question. Something new. Anything from the newspaper, from the current affairs related to the, nothing is coming in your mind? Huh? We can do that, but I'll keep it in the body. Okay, recent incident of the major Indigo accident, okay, has brought Ahmedabad accident, has brought the civil aviation industry into the mainstream limelight, okay, highlighting the concerns. So I will talk about the various issues. Since that is a major point that is running in the news, I will focus on the safety standards, safety related concerns. So first, for me, first issue is safety concerns. Then I will talk under this. Recently, DGCA report highlighted many safety lapses. I will not write all the points that I have mentioned. You need not by heart and memorize. So you can mention infrastructure lapses, operational lapses. That is for the content for you to understand in the initial phases. So I will talk about the recent DGCA report. Okay. This is the first major point. Then you can talk about what are the points that you can mention. Tell me. Give me more point. What should be the second point? What are those guidelines? IATA. Okay. No. Tell me the point. Safety concerns. We have discussed about safety concerns. We have discussed so many things. What else in the infrastructure? Technical gaps is fine. I want you to be more specific. Something we have discussed. Repair. Yeah. You wanted to discuss MRO. Okay, we have mentioned if any aircraft faces any kind of problem in India, we do not have proper service and repair centers. Like in one of the meeting, Prime Minister has said we are focusing on more MROs at the India. Okay, so you are talking about this Airbus repair. Okay, but think little before that. Okay, think you are talking about the repair. What about the aircrafts? Do we have India enough aircrafts? Duopoly in the world. Who are those? Boeing and the Airbus. Currently, India do not have the manufacturing capacity. Manufacturing capacity is limited. India do not have anything. Only two duopoly in the world. So, who are the Airbus and the Boeing? So, whoever has not watched the previous lecture, this will be a revision. So, these things we have discussed over a period of time. I am trying to keep things organized for you at one place. This will give you everything content. So many things we are discussing. So, how the question will be asked and how will you structure the content? I am teaching you that thing. What else? We have also discussed yesterday only in the GST. This is the body of the answer. Yes, this is the body of the answer. What else we have discussed? So many things we have discussed regarding the civil aviation industry. Do we have enough space to expand our airports? We have the limited space. Okay, we are even our Hyderabad airports. If you see, if you want to travel, okay, it's highly overcrowded. Okay, there will be very heavy crowd, cancellation of flights, lack of enough proper standards. Okay, so you can mention lack of proper standards. Okay, so that is one point. Okay, so lack of proper standards, cancellation of the flights are happening, and also recently bomb threats, various kinds of bomb threats that are being coming up. So you can take off, but more important point is this thing: infrastructure. Existing airports are the overcrowded, and there are no properly airports in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Only in the tier 1 cities you have the airports. In the tier 2, tier 3 cities, that's why we are talking about in Andhra Pradesh. They are talking, we have 6 airports, but none of them are functional. No airports are running, because who is going to fly from Rajahmundry to Visakhapatnam, or Rajahmundry to the Vijayawada, Rajahmundry to Hyderabad? Yes, Vande Bharat is so convenient, right? So yeah, they are making, now this will lead us to the point. See here. So I'm just trying to revise for you. Okay, so infrastructure issues, note down this thing. Okay, in the infrastructure, you can mention what did you say? Overcrowding. So if you have to expand, so why did we shift from Begumpet to the current, what is the area? Shamshabad. Why did we shift? Because there is no space in the Begumpet to expand. So we do not have the enough space for the expansion. So this is the same scenario in various cities. You do not have the sufficient space for the expansion, overcrowding. Okay, so then you can also mention lack of enough airports in the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities. And this will take us to the problem. Many of your industries, many of the companies in the this currently in India, they are making losses, heavy losses they are going through. Okay, so they are not getting enough money. One of the heavy problem for them is aviation turbine fuel. We import, we do not have sufficient fuels. So for them, the cost becomes very high, aviation turbine fuel. Okay, so your industry is bleeding. The prime concern here is aviation turbine fuel. What else you can think? Bomb threats, which I have discussed. Okay, all those things we have discussed.
Post-accident security. Post-accident security.
So those things, okay, under the security related threats we have discussed. And apart from this, accountability, whatever those general points are there, okay, we can add. Technical glitches, okay, so we do not have sufficient traffic controlling. Okay, so those things you can always talk about. Okay, so now for this purposes only, government, now we have the civil aviation policy, we have institutional mechanism under the DGCA. Recently we have passed new act. The 100 years act has been changed and new act has been passed recently. Under this, new institutional structure has been created. Apart from this, we have discussed some suggestions for more safety, regulatory body autonomy. So those things that you have to talk. In the conclusion, you will talk about those things. We need autonomy of the regulatory bodies. This can make our civil aviation market to grow stronger. Okay, this thing that you can talk about. Clear? So this is how you will approach towards the answer. Any doubt? See, another major concern here is okay, we'll discuss this. See, 2 billion people don't have the safe drinking water. This is a very serious concern, which is the most basic fundamental aspect. See, if the people do not have the safe access previously, like say a few years back, so simply it was when we used to play, okay, maybe you might have played on, okay, in the, on streets and all. So then just you can turn on the tap, or we can, there were also borings, okay, bore water and all, okay, tap waters and all. You just use those things and you can get the water, you can drink. But these days the water is getting contaminated. Why the water is getting contaminated? Yes, whatever the industrial waste is there, solid waste is there, your household waste, everything, they are not getting treated and they are just being dumped in the rivers. Especially your Godavari, not Godavari, I'm talking about Ganga, Yamuna, they are heavily polluted. If you are in the Delhi, you cannot drink normal, regular tap water. You will get all the kinds of poisoning. Right? So there you must purchase that cans, okay, or you should have launched those filters, which are very, very costly. You know, you can imagine a scenario where a person is really struggling, okay, where they have the very low income. How can they afford such a costly water filtrations and all? It is very difficult for them. And even if you purchase those water cans, sometimes I doubt, are they really doing the filtering process, or they are just filling the water and just sealing it and bringing it? We do not know, right? There is no clarity, there is no surety unless you purchase from the person who is really authenticated and all. So that is happening. So there is a major problem of concern. What will happen if you drink the poor water? So you can get affected by your problems like hepatitis, cholera, jaundice, typhoid. Okay, all these are the problems. If you see, India is the only country which has dual problems. Currently, with the population who are getting little bit empowered, little bit money, they are getting non-communicable diseases. They are getting lifestyle-based diseases, overeating, diabetes, overwork, hypertension, or some other tension, and cardiovascular problems, heart problems. Okay, for the people who do not have the money, for them the problems are hepatitis A. Hepatitis A is a problem where you will get due to the poor contaminated eating, drinking, contaminated foods, or these kind of problems. So you are facing both the things. You have to resolve these things. Okay, even if you provide the food through the Food Security Act, food security includes 3 things. Remember, I'll ask you again. Food security means it includes 3 things. First thing is access. You should have access to the food. Next, it should be affordable. Third thing is absorption. You are eating it, but your body is not able to absorb that. It is not able to be converted into the nutrients because you have so many infections in the body. Your body is working in dealing with those infections. Diarrhea, whatever you eat, diarrhea. This is happening. So Food Security Act includes 3 things. You should have the affordability, accessibility, and also absorption. Okay, so then there is a food security. So your food security cannot go forward without addressing these things. So for that, the prime scheme we have is a Jal Jeevan Mission, functional tap water connection. We have discussed this thing previously in the few days back also. There was some corruption. So much of money is being disbursed, but on real terms, there cannot be any progress has been noticed. No progress has been noticed. So this was in the news. But coming back to this thing, so you need to be aware, Jal Jeevan Mission, tap water connection to every household. So National Rural Drinking Water Program, it is also same thing, to provide the adequate safe drinking water. Atal Bhujan Yojana, this is talking about groundwater resources. See, for suppose you are digging the groundwater, previously I mentioned, okay, so we can easily use those bore wells and all, we can drink the water and all, that is fine. But why it is getting contaminated now? So your groundwater level, this is your groundwater level. Previously the water levels are here. Now because of heavy stress that you are putting, the water levels are going down. Now you are digging deeper. It is gone down. So as you dig deeper, there are heavy radioactive elements. Okay, strong substances which are not good for you. Okay, that's why especially in the Telangana area, this is Nalgonda and all. Okay, so they are facing severe water contamination problems, water intoxication. Everywhere it is there. So this has to change. Government has to make changes in everywhere. Okay, so we have discussed previously, India is the largest exporter of the rice, but rice requires large amount of water. We also produce huge amount of sugarcane, but again sugarcane needs water. I told you we are focusing on the palm oil cultivation, but again this needs water. So our cropping pattern is focusing on this because of the faulty MSP. I told you for us pulses, they are very good. Core cereals like bajra, jawar, ragi, these are very good for our health also, millets, and they are also environment friendly. They don't need a lot of water. So we should not focus just on one aspect. We need to focus on every aspect. If you resolve these things, along with that, these are the basic direct measures that we are focusing to provide the clean water. Namami Gange, like I have told you, so many pollutants, industries, household activities, everything they are dumping all the waste without being treated. Namami Gange is that program. You are setting up the filtrations. So every industry is bound to set up those techniques to treat the water before you release in the industry. Okay, just if you want to kill someone, give them one glass of water, okay, from those areas, from the banks of the, if I say somehow, okay, no, but I'm not talking about the, okay, that is a significant river, but it got polluted. That's what, same thing, even our scenario, Tangman, okay, people will go for walks there, okay, I feel the smell and all, okay, I don't like walking there, okay, so it is at least little better now. Few years back, scenario was even more worse, okay, so it is very important that we take care of our water bodies. Okay, so Amrut, what is Amrut scheme in one line? Providing basic infrastructure in the urban amenities. Especially the focus will be on tier 2 and tier 3 cities, basic infrastructure. Focus on the basic water, housing, shelter, okay, clean air. These are the basic things. Okay, roti, kapda, makan, okay. So these are the basic. Now come to main thing. See, we have right to life under the Article 21. So, but when you understand, when you elaborate the right to life in a broadly, so it includes all those things. But specifically mentioning those things exactly to the water, that kind of act or any kind of backing is not there. But yes, you can reach the court that your right to life is getting violated and all. Okay, so that is there. Right to life is a broad thing. Inherently, these things comes under it. So SDG, first time we got under 100. So this is a kind of good achievement. So totally there are 17 goals. All the 17 goals you should learn. You should by heart. Okay, you can divide the goals. Okay, in the economic goals, social goals, and the political goals. Economic, social, political, environmental. Okay, I used to divide it in this way, and I have seen students are writing in every conclusion that they are just dumping SDG. Even if it is not relevant, they are somehow bringing the SDG. So someone has told them use this thing in the conclusion, they are using it wherever they want. Irrelevant also, they are just bringing it. So don't make it that way. Learn those things. Okay, just go through those things again and again. Once or in one answer or two answers, you can use GS1 or GS3. Okay, so if they are asking you question on the food security, okay, or poverty, then you can mention. See, this is also the first important goal. Okay, poverty, hunger, health, so education and gender equality. These 5, okay, these are very easily it can be remembered. These are the basic things. Okay, try to remember. So now that's not difficult. Water, energy, economic growth, industry, and the innovation. So when we are saying SDG, come back always. Come back to the basic and tell me what do you mean by the SDG, sustainable development. Okay, these are the 17 goals. What is you mean by the sustainable development?
Providing basic amenities.
Okay.
Like food, shelter.
Now, what do you mean by the sustainable development? So your present development should not compromise the future generation. That is, if you can take care of that thing, then you are going through the sustainable development. So from that we have conceptually 17 goals. So my present level of development should not compromise future. When this thing came, there was in the 1987 Brundtland Commission was set up. This Brundtland Commission has given a report. In that report, they have mentioned about the sustainable development. Okay. After 2015, they have come up with these 17 goals. We have to take care of these things. Okay. So when you are going for the development and all, now see, irresponsible mining. But that day we have discussed previously. Our development is based on how much you spend. Right? This is the definition of the GDP. Any country will be considered developed based on how much money they spent. So if that is called as a development, somehow all the market advertisements, they are involved in showing you those delicious pastries, those delicious cakes, clothes, and for those things. Somehow, even if you do not want, they are trying to push you to buy something, push you to purchase something, because that's what the development is. If you purchase more, so in that scenario, you will put more and more stress on the resources. So you need to exploit more and more resources. So our intention is right, but still the way that we are proceeding is not that in right direction. So like Gandhi said, there is a lot for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. Now, it is unlimited. So even for our development purpose, for our individual thing also, you need to always have a kind of base target, which will take care of your livelihood. Okay? So this is important for me, this much of money for my survival, for taking care of my family. Once this thing is said, above that thing, so you will be sensible. You should not be desperate after hitting that point. Okay, so that if things going in a sustainable manner, you will focus. You should not be desperately running behind something materialistic. Okay, this should be always there in the mind. And the same thing, India is also saying, okay, our Prime Minister has come up with a concept called life. That means you have to change your whole behavioral changes. Life itself has to change. That means our demand, our requirement, our greed, it has to change. Okay, environment. So this way you will not be involved in the excessive consumption. Okay, so you have to eat in a right manner. But when I say this thing, okay, sometimes I see people, okay, sometimes we go out. So when we go out for the restaurant or something, my friends, they are like, okay, so it is a junk food, I won't eat. I'll eat for taste, and when it is junk, okay, I'll eat just something, okay, I'll eat. But generally, food should not be wasted. This is a concept. Okay, so even if your belly is full, so generally people will try to eat that thing. Okay, so I don't consider my stomach as a kind of dustbin. Do not dump anything. Okay, either you order less. If the food is left, maybe you can do you pack something or give it to someone. Not leave it. Even if you dump in your belly, okay, it is going to go waste. Okay, it will be deposited somewhere unnecessary thing. Okay, it is not going to add value. You are not going to do sustainable development by eating more. Okay, so keep this thing in the mind. Okay, so this is the thing that we have. See here, they will ask sometimes these trends. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Consistently we are performing. Here we have went. Okay, wow. If we keep this thing 22 aside, okay, 112, 109 and 99. Top performers, always I told you, those Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, these are the countries always they do well. USA is somewhere at the 44. So this is important. Now tell me, if the question is asked, why the India is not able to perform? Why? Still, why are we in the 99? So now this is the article. There is nothing for us to gain. So for the prelims point of view, they will ask, who is releasing this report? It is created by the UN Sustainable Development Solution Network, led by the economist Jeffrey Sachs. That's it. India has improved, and they may ask South Asian neighbors rank for the prelims. Bhutan is doing well. Maldives, okay, they are better than us. Sri Lanka 93rd. Okay, we are performing little better than Pakistan and the Bangladesh. Okay? So we are happy if we are performing better than the Pakistan. Okay, we are better than Pakistan. So now we need to think, why, if they ask you the question, why we are not able to perform well? Based on your conceptual understanding so far, you tell me at least 3-4 points. Very good. Okay, well, we are criticizing, fine, but it's not that easy to provide, take care of provide social security to such a huge level of population. Okay, that is a major hurdle. Okay, we have huge population. So we are working, we are showing the progress, but still we are struggling. Okay, huge population can be one thing. Tell me more points. Shortage of
Alternative resources.
like alternative resources.
Renewable.
How is that really related to this thing?
So now, if we want to consider wind energy,
Hmm.
there is more need of infrastructure.
Right. Okay. So we are yet to progress in the renewable energy due to the technological advancements or those things. So first I'll divide the goals, okay, in the economic area, social area, and the environment, in these three things. So what challenges we are finding in the environment? I'll write this point. Okay. What challenges in the social sector? I'll talk about this thing. What challenges we are finding in the political sector? I'll try to find 3-4 points. So in the political process means identification of the beneficiaries is a challenge for me. Okay, targeting them, leakages, corruption. Today we are talking about one of the scheme in the tribal areas, Ministry of the Tribals. Precise targeting is very difficult. Okay, failure of authentication is all these things are happening. Okay, you have limited resources. Okay, to reach out to these remote areas, all those things. So I will divide this thing: social, political, and in the health sector, you can say the primary sector, the first important point of contact, the clinic, the present clinic in the rural areas, they are not having enough human resources. Infrastructure is also failure there. So I will talk about all those things. As we go, we progress, we'll discuss more things in the health sector and all. But we have already discussed issues in the education sector. You are not able to provide, and also there are women related things. There is still patriarchy. There is no gender parity. We have discussed various issues on women in India. Why there is such a kind of parity? We have discussed. Panchayat Pati, woman is the one head, but her husband is pushing her. Okay, nothing. Okay, she is like, what should I say? This thing. Okay. So even when I used to go, my sister used to ask me, okay, whom should I vote? Okay. Then I was like, no, you should first understand. This is what happening. This is So I was like, hey, you tell me what I don't want to go through. Okay. So these things happen. Okay. So we need to, but somehow my sister is like, okay, since he is following the current affairs and all, so she asked me directly, okay, what? Who is doing what? I do not know who she vote, but she asked me. When I asked, did you vote the same person and all? Okay, she'll say, I won't say it. Okay. So I don't know. Okay. So this is how you will answer. This is only just giving you the context. Maybe you can use in the introduction. Question will come, why the India is lagging. So then I will use the recent report says India has progressed. Okay, we are progressing because, so now I will talk about progress also, why we are progressing. So now this will take me to the next one thing. See this thing, Dharti Abad Janjatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan. This is the scheme especially for the tribals. See now what is the scheme? For the tribal people, there are many schemes, but they do not have the awareness. They are not able to utilize those schemes. Now what this scheme does is, they are conducting the camps. See here, in the span of 9 days, 222,000 Jan Seva camps. So there, they are making people get this Aadhaar card. Okay, they are making the people aware. See, you are eligible for this scheme. You can get access to this scheme in this way. So whatever the schemes that are present between the different ministries, they are reaching to the targeted person. So I will, very beautiful scheme. So I told you that passion, the extra step that is required to get schemes might be there, those things might be there. Those will be successful when the person has the right intention. If the person is not intended, they will not go for that extra step. Here that extra step they are talking about. Okay. So there I am just giving the awareness. Specific scheme is launched only to create that kind of awareness. I am telling the person, see, come to the camp. You are entitled to get these rights. You get the Aadhaar card. Okay. So you get the bank account. So we have that Jan Dhan Yojana. Okay. So you get the bank account. Your money will be debited in your account. Use that bank account properly. You will get the money. So this is the scheme. So that saturation happens. See, the service aim to improve access to the essential services like healthcare, financial inclusion and identity. Goals, every eligible tribal person or household is covered under each major welfare scheme. They are entitled, including the health insurance, education, agriculture benefits. Very beautiful scheme. This way can be asked in the prelims. If not asked, even you can use these things in the mains. Now that's how I showed. SDG, that's why we are improving. We have discussed in we are performing well slowly in the poverty also, SDG also, because of these things. Because of that extra effort that we are taking. That's why we are improving. Very important question they can ask in the prelims. What is the scheme and why? So there is no additional funding for this. They are just making sure that whatever the existing schemes are there, they are reaching to the beneficiary. Saturation is reaching there. So am I clear? Clear? So far, any doubt? Now see, enhanced rock weathering and climate change. Now this thing, what they are doing basically, they are, we have the process of weathering. Weathering means, if say I have the rock here, that rock is breaking down at the place where it is. Physical disintegration at the place where it is called the weathering. Weathering is different, erosion is different. Erosion means there is a movement, not landslides. Okay? Huh? Landslides is a mass movement. When I say movement under the influence of the gravity, then you will say mass movement. Okay? Erosion means there is a movement, an agent. Now rock got disintegrated and falling there. Now for suppose wind is coming, water is coming, river is flowing. There should be some agent or glaciers. They are carrying that broken rock and they are hitting another rock. Okay? Then it is leading to the breaking up of another rock. This is called erosion. Clear? Again, you should not forget. No more confusion between weathering, erosion and the mass wasting. Okay? Weathering means disintegration at the place where it is. There is a rock, it got disintegrated. Now why it getting disintegrated? There is one of the process called carbonic acid. Generally, carbon dioxide reacts with the water to form the carbonic acid. You place the rock in the acid, it is disintegrating at the place where it is. This is the weathering. There are different types of the weathering. This is one process of weathering. Now the broken rock is being transported by the rivers, wind, and in this process they are going and hitting another rock and the other rock is also breaking. This is called erosion. Mass movement means huge amount of material is moving down the slope under the influence of the gravity. Simple clarity in one line. Clear? Now the same weathering process I have mentioned, they have said they are using the carbon dioxide, the water is reacting with the carbon dioxide to form carbonic acid. Now why not use the same process to absorb the carbon dioxide? There is huge amount of carbon dioxide present in the nature. So they are using basaltic rock, a volcanic rock, and they are spreading on the farm fields. Now these rocks, they will absorb the carbon dioxide in the environment. So because of this thing, what happens? This is a general process. We are intensifying it. We are spreading it on the farm fields so that they absorb the carbon dioxide from the environment. So this is called a carbon capture present. Why do we want to capture the carbon dioxide? Why? What do you mean by the greenhouse effect?
Global warming.
It causes a global warming. What is the thing?
Heat shouldn't get trapped.
Greenhouse gas means they are trapping the heat. Okay? These greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, they are trapping the long wave radiation. The radiation reflected from the Earth's surface, trapping this heat, especially the infrared part in the sun's radiation, and they are keeping the Earth warmer. This is a natural process. This is there always. But we are increasing the concentration of the carbon dioxide. We are releasing more and more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because of vehicular exhaust, because of the industrial pollutants, erosion, everywhere, fossil fuel burning, everywhere more carbon dioxide is being released. So it is leading to the global warming. Now to handle the global warming, we can do two things. Reduce the release of the carbon dioxide. For that only we are moving towards the clean energy and the renewable energy. In another step, whatever the carbon dioxide already released, you capture it. So further, I will mention this thing. Enhanced rock weathering. It is a novel technique being used globally from sugar plantations in the Brazil to the tea estates in the India, aiming to combat climate change. It accelerates the natural process of the weathering, where carbonic acid from carbon dioxide and water break down the rocks. So this is what thing, water absorbs the carbon dioxide and forms the carbonic acid. This is natural process. By keeping more and more rock available, so we are accelerating this process. Anyway, this process is going on. Okay, so let's add that thing. Let's add more basaltic rock. Okay, so with this process will intensify and more carbon dioxide can be absorbed. So if you say it is not that effective, not everywhere that is effective, but if not working in that manner, maybe this can add a little value to the soil because of the rocks. Generally, rocks have the minerals. They are the aggregate of the minerals. When these rocks disintegrate, so they will lead to the formation of good soil. Your basaltic soil lead to the formation of the black soil. We have in the Deccan area huge black soil. This is the second highest quality of soil in India after the alluvial soil. Okay, it has good amount of potash, phosphorus, okay, but no nitrogen. Okay, so this soil got developed from the basaltic soil, basaltic rocks, the same basaltic rock. So your soil quality can be improved if not absorption of the carbon dioxide. Okay, so carbon removal. So they say not the so soil improvement, cost effectiveness, environmental impact can be handled if CO2 is not captured initially. Rock can neutralize the soil acid, preventing them from contributing the carbon emissions. So this is the article. So what will we mention? Where will we mention? I will mention only one line. Okay, so this point for me is useful. Enhanced rock weathering. I'll use various steps to handle the climate change. This thing I'll use there. Carbon capture storage mechanisms. Okay, I need just only one point. Maybe they may ask in the prelims, discuss the ways to handle the climate change. They may put this option. Okay, so I need not by heart and memorize all the points. Just have an idea. One point, one line essence is enough for you. See here, this is the article I think in the Indian Express or Business Standard. See, like I have mentioned, currently we are having the majority of the population in 15 to 64 years of age, which is a working age. This is going to last only for 30 years. If we don't utilize, if we don't provide skills to the existing human resource, gone. Okay, only 30 years we have that kind of advantage, demographic advantage. We have to you have to utilize this thing. If you don't utilize generally all those general things, if people do, okay, which currently majority of the youth is doing, those addictions, those nonsense activities and all, so nothing productive will happen. So we have to make sure that this generation is creating some kind of impact. Okay, see, we want 8% consistent growth rate by till 2047, so that we become a developed economy. Currently we are developing. If we don't perform well, okay, even your children will say we are still developing. Okay, when I was a child, I used to study developing. Now I am teaching developing. Later on, even to your grandchildren and all, again I'll teach. Okay, developing. If that should not happen, okay, so our India should grow with 8%, and whoever the current young generation is there, they should work well. Okay, there was once UPSC question has asked. Okay, they have asked India's youth. They have asked a very strong statement. Okay, because of this addictions and all, so India's demography is huge wastage. They have asked this kind of question. Okay, so that's why this kind of questions can ask. Why this demography is not being properly utilized? So you can talk about these things. See, if there is huge unemployment, I think this was also mentioned by Pawan Kalyan. Okay, when there is no employment, okay, so what will the youth do? Their energies are very high. If the government is not providing them necessary space to release their energy, okay, so they will indulge in they will put their energy in the negative direction. Okay, so that's why government should make sure their skills are being provided and their opportunities are being provided. Or we are also talking about exporting the human skills. Okay, so we have humans, so much of the population, we teach them skill. Okay, yesterday we have mentioned AI. There is a gap, job gap, especially in the China. We can teach our students the AI and all. So we can export wherever it is required. The USA, we can send our people and all. So we are using our human resource in a proper manner. Then you need to provide them health. You need to provide them proper food. Without providing them proper food and health, you cannot talk about the demographic dividend. Then you need to address those. Yesterday we have discussed about this. Previously we have discussed about this liquor policies. Okay, addictions. Then we have also discussed about this smoking and all, alcohol and okay. So these things has to be regulated. So whenever there is a problem, there is an addiction and all, generally I see, okay, oh, this motivation, those motivation, those are not going to work. You need to focus what is priority to you. If you find any good priority thing for you, so whatever the not so priority things, they naturally fall. So if you want to change something, focus not on what you want to change. I want to stop eating junk. I want to stop smoking and all. Don't focus on this thing. Focus on what you want. When your priorities are very clear, when you have very strong priority and very strong goal and desire, when you focus on something, automatically these things will become not so important for you. These things are very easy for you to mold from this to that thing. So that thing should happen, or else we are not going to grow. That's what the article says. Okay, so the last article. So we had a democracy thing, that emergency issue. It is 50 years. So when the emergency was imposed, previously the emergency can be imposed easily simply by the government. Prime Minister saying impose the emergency, and it can be approved only by the simple majority. But once the emergency was imposed, there were many excesses. Like those cases at those time period, like Shah Commission has said, okay, during that emergency time period, many fundamental rights are violated, many civil liberties. So I have to use the right word. Civil liberties means civil. We are our liberties, our freedoms, like freedom of speech, freedom of speech and expression, freedom of movement. Everything got violated. Okay, they have used some kind of anti-terrorism acts. Okay, they have arrested the various people. Press was not able to report the news properly. So Shah Commission has reported all these things. So we have identified this can be a threat to our democracy. Then we have changed this thing. We have passed the 44th Constitution Amendment Act. So from the prelims point of view and from the mains point of view, a direct question can be asked. Discuss what do you mean by the national emergency? What are the 3 grounds under which national emergency can be imposed? It was in the before 44th Amendment. Okay. War, external aggression, and the
breakdown of constitutional.
no, that is the 356. Okay, state emergency you are talking about. National emergency can be imposed only on the 3 rules: external aggression, war, and the armed rebellion. Previously, it was internal disturbance. Internal disturbance. Okay, you are doing some thing here. Okay, I can impose internal disturbance. Okay, so it is very small word, very broad. It can be misinterpreted. So government has changed. Through 44th Amendment has changed to the armed rebellion. These are the only 3 grounds, and it has to be passed by the special majority. And before the passing, first in the written, cabinet, not the prime minister, cabinet has to give in the writing, impose the emergency. Once it is imposed, it has to be passed from the in the Lok Sabha with the special majority. Then it has to be again approved by the Rajya Sabha. Okay, then only it will be passed. It is not that easy. Okay, so they will ask. They can ask what were the impacts of emergency and all. Okay, so see, once I was discussing with the student regarding student's interview. Okay, so when you appear for the interview or when you are writing any mains answer, I should not see your leniency or your kind of some kind of bias or tilt towards any ideology, any political party, anything. I should not be able to know where is your stand. Okay, ideological stand. Does not mean that you are not answering anything. Okay, if I'm asking something, you are not saying anything. Okay, you are just saying neutral and all. Okay, no, not that point. Ideology. Okay, which party you support, which ideology, communism ideology, right-wing ideology, left-wing ideology, no matter what you have in the mind, but it should not come forward because they might be having different ideology. When it comes in conflict with yours, gone. Your interview is gone. Okay, so you should be always having progressive thing. Your values should be aligned with the constitution. Okay, broad-minded. So these things, those neutrality, principle of objectivity, always should come. You need to practice, or else if it does not come, okay, in the interview, sometimes they will give you very, very less marks. No matter how much score you get in the mains, they'll make sure that you don't come into the list. These things I have seen. Okay, rarely these things happen, but it will be there. Okay, but sometimes not because of their real ideology, sometimes because of misguidance or students do not know how to answer also. Unfortunately, they do the mistakes. Okay, so you need to train from now itself properly your articulation, your way of communication, so that you put your viewpoint properly without showing the wrong picture. Okay, sometimes you want to say something, but it got communicated in different way. These things also happen. Okay, so everything will go wrong. Okay, so keep these things in the mind. That's it. That's all for today. I hope you are enjoying the lectures. Okay, policy on disinvestment, I think I'll take tomorrow. Okay, that one is missed. That is the only article. So tomorrow I'll take it up. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you. Bye bye.